So ngayon naman po, let us set our expectations. Ano nga ba yung layunin ng orientation na ito? So isa-isahin po natin. Here's our orientation objectives. Number one is to discuss the key provision of the memorandum. Our second objective is to walk through the forms, online or collection and consolidation system. And our third objective for this orientation is to address concerns and queries related to the memorandum. So we hope that by the end of this session, mas magiging malinaw ang ating roles and responsibilities pagdating sa PMES implementation. So at this point, we are ready to dive deeper into the interim guidelines of PMES for teachers. So to walk us through the key provisions of the interim guidelines, let us all welcome the PDO5 and the Chief of Bureau of Human Resource and Organizational Development, Human Resource Development Division, Ms. Cecil Anyayahan. Welcome the PDO5 and the Chief
Thank
of
you very
Bureau of
much,
Human Resource and
Joyka.
Organizational
Magandang umaga po sa lahat.
Human Resource Development
So,
Division, Ms. Cecil Anyayahan.
maligayang araw ng mga puso po sa ating lahat. At sabi nga po ni Yusek, naway sa araw na ito, yan, magkaroon po tayo ng maligayang pagtanggap po para sa RPMS and Rapid Performance Management System and Evaluation System for Teachers for School Year 2024-2025. So, bago po ako magsimula, let me start off with what are the issues that have been found in the previous implementation of the RPMS PBSC. As you can see in the slide, and po, these are the three issues reported about the RPMS PBSC. First one, excessive workload and burden, especially as mentioned by Yusek in the preparation of teacher's portfolio. And the second one is that the idea of too many MOVs and costly RPMS portfolio, which requires producing different MOVs, in fact, duplicate copy, replicate, and many more. So, yan po yung nakarating po sa atin na feedback about the RPMS PPST. The third one is what we call subjective performance assessment, possibly in the absence of the rubric, the appreciation of the document, and many results that we can cite based on the feedback that we gather. So, based on this, we are actually in the process of revising already DepEd Order number 2 or the previous RPMS policy po natin. However, the revised DepEd Order on the Performance Management and Evaluation System is still at a finalization phase. So, the interim guidelines on PMES for teachers for this school year is issued with a very good news for each and every one of us, specifically yung simplified process and the requirements for our teachers. So, having said that, excited na po ba ang lahat? Okay, so allow me to brief you and provide an overview about the salient feature of the interim guidelines. So this is contained in DepEd Memorandum 17 series of 2025. So the first one is on the reduced number of classroom observation from 4 to 1 or 2 full period. So later po, having said that, teachers will be given an option whether they will take 1 or 2 full classroom observations. And the second one is that we remove already the plus factor as part of the key result areas. So in the previous implementation of the plus factor, it is considered as another KRA po, yung dati po nating implementation, which we refer to value-adding contribution or accomplishments, which are not covered by or during regular duties and responsibilities of the teacher. So this would mean that part of the documentation includes coordinatorship, other non-teaching activities, tasks. But with the issuance of rationalizing teacher workload, Yan po, no? This plus factor will contradict that policy. So thus, we removed already the plus factor as KRA. However, teachers reported that moreover, no, aside from that it contradicts the policy, we hear the sentiments of our teachers that this plus factor contributes to, the burden and the stress of complying, especially for RPMS rating. So that's why po the technical working group deleted already or removed the plus factor as part of the KRA, so that yun po, no, teachers will be focusing now or assessing performance that are focus on teaching. Okay, so the third one is that we, as mentioned by Jose Cabral, no, we remove also the teacher portfolio presentation or the production of the teacher portfolio and reduce yung number of relevant documents for multiple objectives. So as you can see, for teachers using the Proficient tool, from 48 MOVs in the previous implementation is now down to at least 7. So later on, we'll discuss what are these 7, how come that we already reduced po from 48 to 7. And then for highly proficient teachers, ayan po, no, the teachers using highly proficient tool, specifically among the ranks of our master teacher. So from 54 to at least 5. So the reason or the rationale behind the reduction of the documents is that the technical working group were able to analyze there are certain MOVs that can be presented as a means of verification that can serve as a cross-cutting, cross-cutting document serving multiple objectives. So you don't need to produce 2 copies, 3 copies, 4 different indicators po or objectives na nire-require po sa atin even for classroom observation or even at the non-classroom observable indicators. Also, no portfolio shall be submitted and collected. So later on, I will discuss specifically what do we mean by that. Okay, but initially, Yusek mentioned that teachers should have their own repository, which will be discussed later. Okay, so and the last one is we were able to strengthen coaching and mentoring, specifically in a way, inayos po natin yung schedule for our master teachers so that they can also focus and give time for coaching and mentoring. Okay? Sige po. So that's the salient feature of the interim guidelines for PMES guidelines for teachers. Now, let's go to the purpose. So we discussed the overview, but now why we have these interim PMES guidelines for teachers. So the first one, it lifts the suspension of the implementation of the performance management system for teachers, specifically for school year 2024-2025. And the second one, our goal, based on the instruction of the secretary, is that we need, and also with the directions given to us by Undersecretary Cabral, is to simplify the process and the requirements for our teachers. So, in these interim guidelines, especially sa mga nakabasa na po, no? Hope that you saw that we were able to simplify the process and the requirements for the performance evaluation for our teachers. And the last one, which is very important, this year, school year 2024-2025, is the completion of the 37 indicators under the second cycle or the second cycle. No? So, meaning our first cycle following the And completing the 37 started way back 2018-2019 na inulit po natin noong 2019-2020 and then 2020-2021 and school year 2021-2022. So that's the first cycle. The second cycle, which comprises of the 3-year annual performance management evaluation system, started in 2022-2023 and then 2023 to 2024, and this year or this school year concludes po the 3-year annual cycle for its second cycle of the performance management system. So meaning, makukumpleto na po natin yung 37 indicators, which later on our teachers will need for other HR system or purposes of the performance management system. Okay. Now, let's go to the scope of the guidelines. Definitely, it covers all teachers in public elementary and secondary schools, including teachers in the community learning centers, such as regular teachers, our ALS teachers, madrasa teachers, iPad teachers, special needs education teachers, and special science teachers. So starting fourth quarter of school year, which will commence next week. Tama po ba? Starting Feb 17 until April 15, 2025. Okay? So that's the scope of our interim guidelines. Now let's move to the cycle. Mrs., meron bang pagbabago sa cycle po natin? Definitely po, interim PMS guidelines for teachers, as I mentioned, will start next week po for school year 2024-2025. So the performance assessment, especially for the classroom observable indicator, shall conducted only upon the issuance of this BM 17-2025, meaning which was issued already. So the performance assessment will start next week using pa rin po the 4 cycle, even in the span of the quarter. Okay. So, yun po yung ating timeline as far as this PMS cycle for school year 2024-2025. Okay, so the next few slides will actually present po the PPST-based objectives for, let's start first with the proficient tool for teachers. So, ito po yung 9 COI or classroom observable indicators, which for sure we are confident that in one way or another your okay, 8 COI, sorry, 2, 4, 6, 8. Wait, na-confuse wala ako dun sa objective. 8 COIs for the proficient tool for teachers, and then we have 6 NCOI for the proficient tool. So non-classroom observable indicators. So these are for teachers 1 to 3. Now for our teachers using the highly proficient tool, basically, ating po mga master teachers 1 to 4, and we have 4 classroom observable indicators. And then we have basically ating po mga master teachers 1 to 4, and we have 4 classroom observable indicators for proficient. And then we have, so, yan po yung kasama to complete our 37 indicators for the 3-year full cycle. So in total po, yan, only 14 PPST-based objectives shall be assessed for school year 2024-2025, both for classroom observable indicators and non-classroom observable indicators. As I mentioned earlier, the plus factor shall not be included in the list of the objectives in this year 14 PPST-based objectives. The non-inclusion of the plus factor in the list is the idea is that we want to focus the performance evaluation on the teacher's job, which is to teach. Okay? So, tatanggalin na po natin yung mga ancillary task or other non-teaching related task na inai-include po, no? Doon po sa plus factors. Kaya tinanggal na po natin yan. Okay? Clear so far? Nakakasunod po? Pa-thumbs up po kung nasusundan po ang ating session. Ayan, sige po. Thank you so much. Now, let's move to the assessment phase, no, how we will be assessed or how you will assess. So, the first one is paano i-assess yung classroom observable objectives. So, as mentioned, meron po tayong option. Tayo po ay binigyan ng option. The teachers will be provided with flexibility to choose among the two options. Either one of the two option, ha? Baka po mag-require na dalawa po. Kaya po may pamimilian, pipili lang po tayo ng isa. Okay, so what are these options? Option A, yan, 2 full period classroom observation within 4th quarter with objectives or classroom observable indicators distributed across observation. So distributed doon sa dalawa, no? So that's the first option. So meaning dalawang classroom observation pero yung objective po na ita-target or the indicators distributed across the two classroom observation. Option B, isang period po. 1 full period classroom observation in okay. 1 full period classroom observation in 4th quarter covering all objectives. So meaning isang classroom observation, full session of the subject. No, in-observe po tayo. So yun po. So what do we mean by that? To further elaborate po, no? The next one, so yung 2 full period classroom observation, so yan po, distributed yung objectives. So, halimbawa, you choose objective 3, 1, 3, 4, 6, and 8 sa unang classroom observation. And then, dun sa pangalawang classroom observation, as you can see po, no, may mauulit po kasing indicator. Okay? And then, ita-target po natin yung mga hindi na-observe ng last time. So, yung green po is for the proficient tool. The blue one po ay yung para sa ating mga master teachers who's using the highly proficient tool. So, pwede rin po, may option po kayo na first full period, master teachers, first ay tatargetin po natin. So, pwede rin tatlo, and then the second full period ay so, yung distribution po ay prescribed po yung distribution. So, meaning ito po yung pagkaka-distribute. Okay. Ngayon, marami po nagtatanong. O kahit hindi pa po natin natatanong sa ating FAQs. So, curious. Mrs., ano po ba yung ibig sabihin ng full period? So, meaning, full period means entire class period. For example, if your class is 40 minutes, in 40 minutes, yan, kukumpletuhin po ninyo yun. And then, kung 60 minutes yung subject po, na doon po kayo magpapa-observe, then 60 minutes. Okay? Naiintindihan po? Okay. So, yun po yung ibig sabihin ng 2 full period. Okay. Next, option B. Ayan. So, ito po, for some, ayan po, no? Naiintindihan po? So, yun po yung ibig sabihin. Medyo sabi naman, mabigat ito kasi walong indicators. But, that's why po, we give some flexibility which one you will choose po, no? So, the option B naman po ay 1 full period. Meaning, in 1 classroom observation, dapat po matatarget, may hit po natin itong mga indicators na to sa subject po na doon po tayo ma-observe. Okay? So, for teachers who will choose option B, so in 1 class, so entire class period. Yan. So, dapat ma-hit po yung 8 indicator. Okay? Sa highly proficient tool naman po sa apat. Apat po yan. Dapat ma-hit po yung lahat ng apat na indicator. Okay? Clear so far ulit? Thumbs up po nga kung nasusundan po tayo, ha? Okay. So, ang sabi po dito ay, ayan, mamimili lang po tayo sa dalawang option. Okay, hindi po pwedeng combine. So, ang sabi po dito ay, now, let's move to, ayan, revisiting again, paano pa rin mises yung classroom observation process. So, just to give you po, no, an idea how we will be able to do yung ating pong classroom classroom observation. So, yun po, no. First one is that the ratee and the rater should agree on the schedule of classroom observations. Okay? Second, the rater and the ratee should have scheduled a pre-observation conference or meeting. Second, one po yun. So, that mag-uusap po sila. And then the teacher or the ratee shall submit lesson plan at least 1 day before the scheduled classroom observation so that the rater will be able to review the lesson plan. So for proficient teachers, their lesson plans, activity sheets, or assessment materials shall be given an appropriate ratings in the IPCRF using the proficient tool as a basis for its demonstration and achievement of Objective 2, the PPST Indicators 2.2. So for the performance evaluation, purposes of performance evaluation po, no, the master teacher, the PPST Indicators 2.2, should not edit the teacher lesson plan to be used in the observation during the pre-observation conference. So instead, lesson plan improvement should be addressed during mentoring or coaching session where the MT can provide technical assistance to support effective instruction. Not just only for master teacher but also head teachers who served as rater. They should not edit the teacher lesson plan to be used in the observation during the pre-observation conference. So dapat preventive po, no? So dapat yung pag-coach po natin at pag-edit ng lesson plan should happen, no, during the technical assistance session or during the coaching and mentoring session. Okay? So that's the reminder lang po during the pre-observation. Now, let's move to the actual observation. So, during the actual observation naman po, ayan, the ratee for the teacher shall deliver the entire lesson. Classroom observation shall be done during the actual observation throughout the full period, entire class period. Nothing more, nothing less. Okay. And then the ratee shall only use observation notes, no, during the classroom observations. Okay? And for highly proficient tool, for teachers, colleagues shall be allowed to observe as part of the mentoring and coaching activities amongst the master teachers po. So yeah, and that is in a way self-explanatory as presented in the slide. Okay. And then the next one, post-observation. Okay. During the post-observation, the raters, it is now the time that the raters rate the performance of the teacher using the classroom observable tool appropriate to the teacher's level. So, yung for teacher 1 to 3, and then for master teacher 1 to 4. In our presentation, usually it's color green and blue. No, although we are seeing context naman, once you reproduce it, it's called color black. But just to remind everyone na meron po yun na tag or title po, title header, which tool yung appropriate sa teacher na ino-observe. Okay. The second important thing po during the post-observation is what we call the inter-observant agreement exercise. So raters or observers. Kung halimbawa, 2 or 3 po yung makakapag-observe for big schools, ayan po, no, they shall meet to discuss the individual ratings given. The final rating, ito po yung lagi po naming nire-remind. The final rating shall not be an average. No? Hindi, for example, yung usual po natin ginagawa, dati pa. No? So kung 3, ako ay 4, siya ay 5, siya ay 3. So ina-add po yun and then ina-average po. Hindi po ganun. But a final rating should be based on reasoned and consensual agreement. So meaning, they should discuss amongst themselves ano yung teaching practice that they saw during the classroom observation, and they should agree on ano yung final rating. Okay? And the last one is what we call the post-observation conference, wherein the ratee shall conduct a post-observation meeting or conference with the ratee to discuss his or her experience and performance during the classroom observation. The idea here is that this is something, or this is not a session where to pinpoint what's wrong, or if ever we were able to identify, but we should take note that yung just to highlight areas for improvement for teachers, and then areas that he or she need to strengthen or improve, as you observe, yung mga rater po doon. This is not to blame or to, give that impression that may mali, but there's an area that we need, or the teacher needs to improve during the post-observation conference. And we would like to remind po all our rater who's here, especially our head teachers and master teachers. Gone are the days that we, in a way, find fault and then for somehow make po yung anxiety for our teachers on observation. Rather, we want a friendly, a peer-to-peer mentor coaching environment for our teachers, for us to excel better. Gone are the days wherein kalaban po natin ang ating kapwa mga guro, but we're here to actually improve yung teaching practice of all our teachers in the school. So yan po yung environment that we want within the context of the school. Okay? Sige po. Now, tapos po tayo for a reminder doon sa ating classroom observable objective. Let's move to the non-classroom observable objectives naman. So, ratees shall provide evidence and documentation of demonstration and achievement of objectives promptly rather than waiting for the year-end assessment. So, ito rin naman po ay ini-encourage natin sa ating mga guro. Dahil po, alam natin na medyo marami-rami pa rin po yung trabaho natin kahit nabawasan na po tayo ng mga ancillary tasks. So we encourage our teachers na from time to time where we were able to produce na po certain MOVs within within certain period. Ayan. Iayos na po natin siya pa isa-isa. Hindi yung kung kailan pa March na po or April na po, saka pa lang tayo nagkukulit. Although hindi po talaga maiiwasan, but somehow, if we try to do that, yung burden kasi is may isin siya because, you'll not dedicate so much time just to collate and then sort out ano yung pwedeng MOVs po ng present. So meaning such MOVs and documents, there are documents and evidences that are cross-cutting, can serve as a cross-cutting MOVs targeting multiple objectives. When we say cross-cutting, meaning, for example, I have one document that can serve indicator, example lang, indicator 2 and 4. So, meaning you don't need to reproduce 2 copies. Instead, you will just put a note there that this MOV specifically is for 2 indicators na. So, dito po kasi tayo nagkakaproblema from previous experience and share sentiments din po wherein yung burden of reproducing because we need to produce certain X number of documents for each objective. Kaya po sa ating mga raters na nandito, wag na po natin silang obligahin na i-produce. Halimbawa, MOV Indicator 1. Tapos, yun din naman yung gusto pa rin nila nakikita na doon within the portfolio or within the envelope na ipapresent. So, wag na po tayo mag-require. Ang sinasabi lang po dito, 1 MOV can